Om Vedanta Vaani, October 2025. Subhashita Ratnam. सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणि नमोऽस्तुते. You are the most auspicious of all auspicious Devi. You fulfill all desires. You give to all refuge, shelter, three-eyed goddess. Our salutations to you, O Devi Narayani. Brahman is the ultimate truth. He who has accepted it has accepted everything. He who knows it knows everything, and he who has gained it has gained everything. Swami Tapovan Maharaj. Those who have a burning desire for liberation should make at first the total effort to cleanse the mind of its impurities. Once this is done, liberation is not at all far away. Swami Chinmaya Lahari. Chintana. If the mind is filled with sattva, the other two gunas perish by themselves. Param Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda. In nature there is a natural play of the gunas. Namely sattva, rajas and tamas in varying proportions. This impacts the moods of the mind and consequently our day-to-day life. It colors our perceptions, influences our responses, distorts our judgment. It is like wearing a colored glass and seeing the world. Our view of the world depends on the color of the glass. We identify with the glasses to such an extent that we are not able to differentiate the glass from ourselves. Glass becomes an integral part of me. Thereafter, we are busy cleaning the perception created by the glass. This becomes a futile exercise as the problem remains. It is only the Guru who opens our eyes to the fact that we start questioning about ourselves. Currently, we have taken the perceiver for granted. When we start inquiring under the guidance of the Guru, our spiritual life starts. Though all the three gunas are like three chains which binds us, as a sadhak, the sattva binding is more congenial, as it keeps the mind quiet and receptive, because the fundamental aspect of sadhana is availability of the sadhak. When rajas and tamas are predominant, sadhak is not available. That is why in Veda, Purva aspect The focus of all sadhanas, karma, upasana, etc. is on chitta shuddhi. This is possible only when the mind is filled with sattva. According to Gurudev, when sattva is predominant, the other two gunas perish by themselves. Trying to conquer a rajasic and tamasic mind is like trying to compress a spring. It is just not possible. We are aiming for sublimation and not suppression. Sattva reveals clarity and detaches the mind from excesses driven by rajas and tamas. Both tamas and rajas lose their grip without forceful suppression, leading to a more uplifted state of consciousness. They are not permanently eradicated but become subdued as the mind stabilizes in sattva. Reaching a sattvic state requires practice, ethical living, mindfulness, self inquiry, and regular spiritual disciplines. Gita emphasizes as to how guna balance affects action and perception in daily life. Practical guidance on cultivating sattva to act rightly. Yoga Sutras focus on internal discipline needed to quieten the mind, leading to freedom from mental fluctuations. Gita describes how the gunas bind the soul to birth and action. When sattva increases, activity guided by ego, attachment, and greed diminishes in influence. Engage in actions that are necessary and not greed driven. Cultivate mindfulness to observe thoughts without being overwhelmed by them. Tailored sattvic living plan. Establish the foundation. Wake up early, breathing exercise, clear habits, diet, reading, reflection, mindful interactions, communication, kindness, deepening practice, meditation, diet, sattvic food, social and community life, satsang, synthesis and plan ahead, review plan. Swami Shivananda taught a comprehensive approach to yoga integrating all the paths. He emphasized on applying spiritual practices to daily life. He encouraged the sadhakas to act for the welfare of others without attachment to outcomes. According to Swami Shivananda, Sattva is the light that reveals truth. It steadies the mind and fosters bliss. From purity comes strength. From strength comes discrimination. By discrimination comes liberation. Truthfulness, cleanliness, and humility are the foundation of sattvic living. Take the minimum, give the maximum. Param Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmaya. A well-dressed, young, sufficiently educated man of energetic look in his beautiful bright eyes is slowly turning pale due to internal hemorrhage and is dying after a tragic smash up of his high powered car on his way to a famous dancing hall. He thanks the Lord for having saved him from immediate death. He thinks that he is only slightly rattled and is therefore feeling slightly bad. He does not realize that death is gathering him. Now, you, brilliant doctor, he happen to pass that way and see the patient. You diagnose the condition rightly. The emergency of the case becomes obvious to you. The hospital is far away. There is no vehicles to take him to the distant hospital, nor can you carry him on your back. To leave him there on the roadside is to leave him to a sure and slow death. This is the feeling I am now having after seeing the world and meeting we youth everywhere. I have not seen churches, nunneries, mosques, Buddha, viharas, and monasteries, dance halls, nightclubs, prostitute streets, drug clubs, universities, hotels, factories, firms, country farms, and urban flats, skyscrapers and towers, hotels and restaurants, slums and cities, avenues and boulevards. I met politicians, scientists, artists, drunkards, teetotalers, and vegetarians, spiritual seekers, and philosophers, absurd people, and beat nights, people who believe in nudism, Jain, Buddhists, sex perverts, happy couples, unmarried old men and women, professors, industrialists, traders, and workers, each type in every walk of life, living varied kinds of ideologies, believing in different goals, striving, sweating, panting, and sobbing, tired and weary, all searching for peace and love, for joy and satisfaction, for tenderness and sympathy, for contentment and quiet. India has a remedy, the all satisfying Vedanta. Everyone seeks, alas, seeks in the wrong places and grows heavy with disappointments, inwardly shattered, bleeding, dying. They suffer. Their vehicles of sensuality and materialism have landed them in a terrible crash. They are suffering from inner hemorrhage of personality. They are rotting, dying, decaying. How can we bring help to them? They cannot afford to come to India. I have not the strength to carry them to India. India has the remedy. India can make them whole. The Hindu way of life is the balm. The all satisfying Vedanta alone can comfort them and fill them with a satisfying hope, subtle vigor, and a joyous spirit. If the patient cannot be moved to the hospital, then the hospital must be moved to reach him. We must serve the victims on the roadside where the crash took place. Young men and women carrying this balm of life, Vedanta, must trek the world everywhere, serving all, seeking nothing more than the joy of service. Teams and teams of Hindus with missionary zeal must roam all over the world with missionary zeal and endless love, with Buddha's compassion and Christ's clarity, with Shankara's knowledge and Vivekananda's courage, with Ramanuja's devotion and Madhva's faith, with Ramakrishna's large hearted tolerance and Ashoka's organizational efficiency. Teams and teams of Hindus must roam over the world, dedicated, totally wedded to poverty, ready to starve and suffer, to be ridiculed and hunted down, to be condemned and persecuted. This work needs Hindus of conviction, faith, experience, knowledge, purity, courage, heroic daring. They must have endless, all giving, undemanding, self effacing love for man, the divine creation of the Creator. Those who see him in his creations alone can have all the above qualities, and they alone can now help people to come back into a saner world, the ancient enduring values. They are here members of the Chinmay mission. Such self chosen missionaries with their clear and full knowledge of Vedanta, who have themselves lived it fully for a couple of years, must be allowed to roam on the face of the globe, singing the cadence of love, the harmony of peace, the notes of goodness, the cheer of the fuller life in the new dimensions of true wisdom. Where are they? They are here, members of the Chinmay mission. Chinmay mission is the only sacred institution that can perhaps discover this love army of peace soldiers fighting the enemies of the heart and head everywhere. The study group of the Chinmay mission must keep this as their goal and work hard. Study diligently, reflect deeply, meditate systematically, transform totally. If your studies are not bringing about a corresponding transformation in your life, what are your studies for? In the newly gathered understanding grow. This is possible only when you assimilate the understanding of the scriptures to make your own knowledge intimate and subjective. Allow all other members of the study group to criticize you. Help each other to grow well. Let your old nature be completely drowned in the new. May you be reborn to the higher to serve better the world around you. Rush to this great task divine. The patient is dying. All I can do is to leave him for the time being and run to the nearest telephone to call for help from the hospital. Here, in this, I am calling out for helping hands from the Chinmay mission. Every young, intelligent, and energetic Hindu must come now. Rush to this great task divine. If you are already encumbered with life and its duties, stay where you are. Join the mission and start your studies and sadhanas. If you are free in life rush to the Sandipani Sadhanalaya. Join the academy and in 6 years learn to grow, to be a real servant of mankind, a true devotee of the Lord. Take the minimum and give the maximum. We must double up our energetic activities. We must double up our energetic activities. We must plan vigorously, visualize clearly, act tirelessly, and serve constantly. The world needs you. You, the Hindu, alone can give this help to the world. Come, every one of you is needed. Conscript yourself voluntarily into these great moments towards a better order of peace, love, tenderness, and joy. Let every mission member live his life fully, making it an inspiring ideal for others to follow. Let our lives aim at fulfilling only our needs and necessitates all the balance that we earn with our productivity must go back to the society. We must ourselves choose to be poor and be the cause for the richness around us. Let us learn to condemn people living for luxury and pleasure. This tendency makes man greedy and forces him to live in aggrandizement and loot others. Let us take from the world the minimum and give the maximum to the world. My tour was impossibly short. In such a quick run around the world, there is not enough time to give. I was an observer, a spectator, a witness, a student, watching, observing, discussing, and understanding the spiritual pangs of the materialistic age. In return, I have given as much as they would take in lectures, discussions, symposia, private talks, informal discussions in the universities and lecture theatres, in the classrooms, in libraries, through radio talks and television interviews. I visited the various yoga centers and ashrams that are now established all over the world and doing wonderful work. But they are not sufficient. They are, of course, necessary. What we now need urgently is teams of roaming Mahatmas who must preach and continuously preach, must undertake sessions of study at each town and different parts of the same city, living among the life at all, the different social levels, mingling with the crowd and identifying themselves with their society. These monks must show them how to live peacefully, loving all, neglecting none, with no lust and greed, sincere and cheerful. We should find fit persons to do this with no profit motive whatsoever, ready to starve if necessary, and yet work for others with an overflowing love for them. No generation could ever have accepted Vedanta so easily and readily as the present. Charlatans of all sorts had left the shores of India and have already caused a lot of damage to the Hindu ideals in the foreign countries. We must have in India a committee of experts to examine the persons who are planning to go out to preach religion or to speak on our philosophers. Accredited, authorized, and well informed men and women alone should be allowed to leave our shores to represent the Indian culture, and they must send the committee their weekly reports of work done all through their tours. The committee must scrutinize their activities and must, if possible, listen to the taped records of their speeches delivered from place to place. The committee can, from time to time, guide, help, and suggest improvements to them. Lastly, all students and businessmen leaving our country for foreign lands, irrespective of their qualifications, status, and nature of work, whether they be MPs or cabinet ministers, simple traders, skilled hands, or manual workers, all must undergo a simple 3 weeks course in Hindu philosophy, Indian culture. The Sandipani Sadhanalaya can even volunteer to serve. as a free center for this orientation course. This is necessary to protect the dignity, purity, and beauty of culture. Misinterpretations have already soiled the face of Vedanta in the West. Institutions like Ramakrishna Mission, Vedanta study centers, some honest and well read professors are doing a glorious job of championing Vedanta in the West. But the so called yogis, maharshis, mahatmas, sadhu, bhaktas, and so on, who reach the West, act carelessly and thoughtlessly and are unconsciously throwing mud upon the fair face of the great truths of the sacred Upanishads. This should not be allowed. This mischief must be stopped at once. Chinmaya Mission study groups must train up in sufficient numbers thoroughly prepared workers. These study groups must come to serve the nation as training college to turn out some roaming preachers. I have every hope that in a couple of years we shall have the necessary workers. Om Tat Sat Hari Om Shri Chinmaya Sadguruve Namaha Hari Om Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai.